I would not do that to you. Good morning, thank you for being here. And what a great day. Weather is really awesome today. So as usual, when I'm trying to figure out what I might talk about, I usually think about what do I need? What do I need? And what does everyone else possibly need? And I need love, and you need love, so we can guarantee we can cooperate on that. We both need love. But even on a more practical level, what I am asking for and have been asking for in the past few weeks is healing, because we've been through it, Mom and Natalie and myself, just the COVID, testing positive, and concerns about that. I've got a little thing, bronchitis, that hangs on, and I always think, oh, jump into fear. But it used to be a lot of fear earlier on when all these people were succumbing to COVID. And now, when we all had it, it's not a great concern. It wasn't for us because we did praying and we surrounded ourselves with healing energy and worked through it. And we heard others here and other places had it, that people that we knew, and we were in prayer with them and our prayer team. Dave's got a great prayer consciousness, and we call Dave and he puts it on the prayer wheel for us, and we really, really appreciate that. So what I have to remember is that God is health. Not that God is healthy, God is health. And God, and let me define that, you can call it whatever you want, if you want to call it God or Source or Spirit or Jesus, whatever you want to call it, that serves you the most is the idea of perfection, of wholeness, of completeness. And I want you to know that God is always sending us love in the form of our higher self. Now, I believe that we have a higher self, and that is part of us. It is the Christ in us. Paul said, Christ in you, your hope of glory. Well, that Christ is in each individual one of us. And we each have our own Lord of our being. We each have a counterpart that is a spiritual counterpart made in the image and likeness of God that actually exists right now in a higher dimension. You can call it heaven if you want to, but it's a higher dimension. But we have to remember that it is us. And its total sole concern is us. It's not like thinking some abstract form of some God way out there. Maybe some people still believe, and I heard that recently about the white beard and out there judging people. That's not the God that Unity believes in. We believe that we are blessed by a higher aspect of us, the Lord of our being. Yeah, there's one central mind. God is mind. There's one central overall being that God is. God is everything. God is every atom that exists on the planet and other planets, if you will. But God is, there's nowhere that God is not. So God is all-encompassing. But your connection with God is in mind, your mind. And often we say, well, why do things happen? Why do bad things happen to good people? Or why do good people happen to bad things? Or what have you? What is the difference? If God is love and God is always sending us love, why are all of us not experiencing it in a wholesome, healthful way? Well, the fact is, your higher self, if you will, is always sending you these healing currents. And these healing currents are vibration, frequency. And they come to you in, over, around, and through you, but they have to go through your consciousness, our consciousness first. So we can have perfect energy, healing energy sent to us, but when it hits our belief system, if we believe in sickness, it shifts the vibration. And so we get sickness. We get that vibration that's not in a wholesome way. Can't blame it on God. It's our thinking that we need to work on. So this morning I want to talk to you about our belief system. In my belief system, I did, by all means, I believed in sickness. I was concerned. I saw people around me falling away from different sicknesses and diseases and what have you, just like you have. And it used to really concern me. And I also had a belief that when my grandfather died at 75, there's something stuck in my mind that I was going to die at 75 too. It took me a long time to get that belief system out of my system. What I'm saying is that we all have our belief systems. And our belief systems affect our lives in every single way. So, in order to achieve perfect health, we've got to shift our vibration. Jesus said, physician, pick up your bed and walk. So, we have to participate, be active participants in our own healing process. Please, God, heal me, heal me, heal me. God would say, well, heal yourself. I gave you the mind to heal yourself. Change your mind. Think of only health and wholeness. Focus on health and wholeness. Stop thinking about sickness. Stop talking about sickness. Stop believing that you're a victim of anything. Because we're not. And because we're powerful spiritual beings. That's the reality of us. Powerful spiritual beings. Powerful. And so much often we don't realize that. Because we've all been there. I don't like myself sometimes. And I've even hated myself sometimes. Self-loathing has been a problem, but not recently, but back in the day I can remember just being aggravated at myself and feeling that, and gotten sick every time I turned around. I'd be sick with a cold or the flu or prior to COVID, but something going on in my life. And I wondered why when I read that God is love, why if God is love, why am I feeling like this? Why are other people doing like they're doing? Why is there so much hate in the world? Why are there wars? Why is it, what has happened? And I've come to realize now that it's because of our own belief system. And like attracts like. And if we're thinking negatively and full of hate, we will be drawn to, and people will be drawn to us that agree with that sense of self-loathing that we have. So it's all about our belief system and how we are. I want to play a video. First I want to introduce you to, you might know him, Bruce Lipton. We've talked about Bruce Lipton before. He's a professor, he's a doctor, he travels around with Greg Braden, if you know Greg Braden, and they give workshops. But I came across this video the other day, and I was thinking, boy, he is saying it so much better than I could even possibly say it. So I'm going to just step aside and let you have.
95% of our life is coming from the programs of how to live life that we get in the first 7 years of life. And that's why poor people stay poor and rich people stay rich. The movie The Matrix is not science fiction. It's a documentary. Every human, and it's a fact, every human first 7 years is downloaded hypnosis. The brain of a child under 7 is in a lower vibrational frequency. You put wires on a person's head, you read electroencephalograph, reading brain activity. A child below 7 has a lower vibration than consciousness. It's called theta. Theta is imagination. Oh, that's how kids play tea party with mud pies, but to them it's a real thing. A kid rides a broom, it's a horse. That's theta, imagination. Theta is also hypnosis. And the idea is this: before you can become conscious, if you don't have any programs, what are you going to be conscious of? So nature makes the first 7 years. What kind of programs are required to live on this planet? I say, how do you get them? Theta is hypnosis. You just watch. You watch your parents, you watch your siblings, and your community, because you have to learn how many 100,000 rules. Think about it. Just to be a functional member of a family and a functional member of a community, there are rules. Teach an infant these rules. You don't have to. First 7 years, they observe it and just download it. And then I say, well, why is it relevant? Because this is the unfortunate fact. 95% of our life comes from those programs in the subconscious. Every day, only about 5% of the life are you using conscious, which is creative. 5%. And you don't see it because it's called subconscious, below conscious. And the Jesuits, for 400 years, they were boasting, and people didn't understand. They say, give me a child until it's 7 and I will show you the man. They've been saying that for 400 years because they knew 7 years was the program period. And 95% of your life after that will be whatever that program is. A child isn't functioning in consciousness until after 7. Before 7 is direct record. Whatever you just said, I just recorded it. So if the parent gets mad at the child, says, you don't deserve that, you don't deserve this, go. The child is not consciously understanding what you mean. Child just recorded, I do not deserve. Now, if I hear that several times, especially in an emotional situation, because that downloads it faster, and now I'm 40, 50 years old, what is my behavior 95% of the time? The answer is what comes from the program. I do not deserve. What does that mean? Unconsciously, I will sabotage myself to make sure that the program is correct. I'm making the program true by adjusting the behavior to meet the program. Look, this is not new. I mean, there's a famous book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And basically said you come from a poor family and you could struggle your whole life and try to get rich, but you're not going to make it. And if you come from a rich family, you could be stupid your whole life and make it. Not because it was thinking, but it was unconscious behavior that was downloaded from rich families into kids, which is unconscious. So they're making the right moves unconsciously. If they engage their conscious mind, then they look stupid, but it's unconscious. And that's the same thing with poor people. Poor people have beliefs from the family. Oh, you can't make it, life's a struggle, things are hard, who do you think you are? And if that's the program you get, then 95% of the day you will sabotage yourself. And that's why poor people stay poor and rich people stay rich, because of the programming. Before I put this knowledge into effect, and I use the word put into effect, why? I had the knowledge academically. It's like, oh my God, look at the research. What does it mean? I understood it from the level. And with all that knowledge, it didn't change my life. People read self-help books. I go, wow, you read the book. You got a lot of knowledge. I say, is your life changed? No, but you got a lot of knowledge. And so here's the difference. The conscious mind is creative and can learn in any number of ways. Read a self-help book, go to a lecture, listen to this, and conscious mind's going to get some awareness. And I go, yeah, but subconscious mind doesn't learn that way. Subconscious mind learns in two fundamental ways naturally. Hypnosis, which is the first 7 years. And after age 7, how do you put new programs in? Repetition. Practice. You want to drive a car? You didn't learn how by just getting in the seat and put the key in. You had to practice driving the car. You want to learn the alphabet. How many times did you go from A to Z, trying to go to A to Z before you can complete it? And once you completed it, you didn't have to go back and do it again. So 2 phases. You want to train the subconscious mind? Hypnosis, repetition. I like the last one because there's a new phrase that's bandied about called fake it till you make it. Meaning, if you're not a happy person and say you want to be a happy person, then repeat all the time, I'm happy, I'm happy. I say, well, you don't look happy or anything. I say, no, who am I talking to? By repetition, I'm talking to subconscious. If subconscious gets, I am happy, and 95% of your life comes from that subconscious, there will be a point, once the subconscious got, I am happy, you don't have to say it again. It'll be automatic. It's repetitive. That's the secret part. Look, putting a sticky note on the refrigerator is more like a suggestion, but it's not a repetition. So it doesn't work very well. Repetition is a habit. It's making habit. So you got to do something religiously in the sense of repeating it to make it work. Every night when you go to bed, just when you're falling off into sleep, consciousness is disconnecting. The next period of your brain operation while your consciousness is disconnected is theta, which is the same brain function as in the first 7 years. So if you put a pair of earphones on at night with a program of what you would like to be true in your life, as soon as your conscious mind disconnects, that program is playing. It's not playing into your conscious mind. That's shut off. It's now going straight into the subconscious mind. So it's called auto-hypnosis. You don't need to go see a hypnotherapist. You just have to pick out what program would you like to have that you don't have. 95% of your life is coming from the subconscious. Your life is a printout of your subconscious behavior. Oh, so you don't have to try and think about what happened. I just say, look at your life. The things you like that come into your life come in because you have a program that supports them. But anything you struggle with, work hard at, put a lot of effort into making it happen while you're working so hard, inevitably you have a program that doesn't support that conclusion and you're trying to override the program. So you don't need to do a lot of strength and psychology stuff. You just look at your life and say, where am I struggling? Because wherever you're struggling, inevitably is a program in your subconscious that does not support that destination you've been looking for. I had to deal with the issue of teaching medical students and going into the classroom. Teaching conventional curriculum is the old genes control life story. And so I go in there and teach that to medical students. But when I'd go back in my lab and look at my research on stem cells, my research revealed conclusively that the environment in which the cells live determine genetic activity. So it's complete opposite of what I was teaching in medical school. And the difference is profound. The conventional story, almost everybody's programmed with genes turn on and off, and then they control the character of your life. And if you buy that story, which I did and which I was teaching, it really means that we're victims of our heredity. We didn't pick the genes as far as we know. You don't like the traits, you can't change the genes, and the genes appear to turn on and off by themselves. All of a sudden you see your life is not under your control, it's under the control of the genes. And a lot of people feel that way looking at their family history and going, oh my goodness, I might have the genes for cancer or whatever it is. Since consciousness is involved, if once I feed you with an idea that you are susceptible to something, look, I can feed you with an idea that this pill that we just got from the pharmaceutical company, it's the greatest, best thing for your issue. and I give you this pill and you get better, and then later you find out it was a sugar pill, and everybody goes, yeah, that's called the placebo effect. I go, what does it really mean? You didn't get healed by the pill, you got healed by the belief in the pill. Well, yeah, that's what placebo is all about, and at least 1/3, minimum of 1/3 of all medical intervention is it's a placebo effect, where the healing comes from. Everybody goes, yeah, I know about the placebo. I go, yeah, but that's a result of positive thinking. What about negative thinking? And this is what we don't talk about, but the reality is it's equally powerful in regard to affecting your biology as is positive thinking, but it works in the opposite direction. A negative thought is called the nocebo effect. It can cause any disease, and you can die. If you believe you're going to die, you can die from the belief. Here's a simple fact. Stress causes at least up to 90% of doctor visits. How can stress do this? And the answer is very simple. Stress causes a hormone called cortisol to be released in the body. So what does cortisol do? Number one, it causes the blood in the viscera, the guts, where maintenance of the body and healing comes from all the organs. It causes the blood vessels to shut down because it pushes the blood to the arms and legs. What? Stress means you're ready to run, fight or flight. So you push the energy to where you need it, arms and legs. Well, where do you get it from? Well, you squeeze the blood vessels in the gut. Well, this is growth. The viscera is growth. That's what the organs are for. Arms and legs are for protection. If I'm in protection, I shut off growth. And more importantly, stress hormones shut off the immune system. The reason is just energy. The idea is if you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger and you have a bacterial infection, how do you want to split the energy? How much energy you want to run away, and how much you want to fight the immune, with the immune system? The answer is the hell with the bacterium. I mean, if the tiger catches you, the bacteria is useless. It's meaningless, So when you're in stress hormones shut down the immune system to conserve energy. Does the immune system use energy? Of course. If you've ever been really sick, you never even got out of bed, you have no energy. And if you're in fight or flight mode, you need the energy to deal with the world. So stress hormones physically shut off the immune system. When you're under stress, that's when sickness starts to show up. In fact, it's so good at shutting off the immune system, doctors give patients who are going to receive a foreign organ, a graft of a kidney or a lung or whatever they're grafting, that's foreign tissue. If you put a foreign organ in your body, your immune system's job is to eliminate it. So as they're transplanting an organ, they give the patient stress hormones at the same time, because stress hormones will shut off the immune system so the organ won't be rejected right away. That's how effective it is. It's used therapeutically to shut off the immune system. Yeah, but everybody out there in this world right now, with a small exception, is under some level of stress. Every one of those people is dripping stress hormones continuously in their body, and those hormones inhibit the immune system, and the result is illness. And if you stop the growth, you say, yeah, but I'm an adult, I don't need to grow. And I say, yeah, but you have to replace hundreds of billions of cells that you lose every day. So we really have to watch out, because as psychologists would tell us, 70% or more of our thoughts are negative and redundant, replaying the same negative thoughts. I go, if thoughts had nothing to do with it, fine. But thoughts, positive or negative, shape our biology. And all of a sudden it says, well, now it's time to wake up, because our negative thinking is manifesting a negative life experience. But it's not just me saying this. It was me saying this when I first started doing this work in 1970. And my research was repeatable every day. I could take, stem cells are embryonic cells, so they have no potential until you put them in an environment. And then depending on the culture medium, by the chemistry of the culture medium, I can make the cell become a muscle cell, change the culture medium, make the same cell become a bone cell, or change it again and make the same cell become a fat cell. Now, genetically, the cell's the same. It was the environment that I was changing. And I started talking about that long before the new science called epigenetics had come into vogue, which was 1990. So I was like 20 years ahead. And of course, for much of that time, my colleagues looked at me like I was a crazy guy, because everybody knew the conventional dogma. And I was, coming up with a whole different line of belief about it. And now it's come into mainstream. The only problem is this: when you invest so much money into a belief system, and then a belief system isn't really right, you try to hold on as long as you can, because you spend hundreds of billions of dollars in this belief. You don't want to just, oh, okay, we'll just change it. So it's a struggle, but the reality is coming forward, and the public is just becoming aware of it, and it's a revolution, because if you believe genes control your life, you're a victim of your heredity. When I say epigenetic control, almost sounds the same, but epi means above. So when I say epigenetic control, literally it's control above the genes. And this is what we now recognize, that The environment, and very specifically our perception of the environment, changes our genetic activity. So that means, well, wait, that's not a victim because I can change my environment, I can change my perception, and all of a sudden, if I can do that, then I can control my genes. Well, we're going from victim to mastery, from genetics to epigenetics.
I wished I had had that in my early life. Oh my goodness. And when I had my children, I wished I had known what I know there. I would have been a better parent. That's what we all go through. We look at the past and if I coulda, woulda, shoulda. But we should not coulda, woulda, shoulda on ourselves. We should just accept ourselves where we are right now and know that we have total control of our lives if we take it, because God has given us that gift. The gift that God has given all of us is thought, the power of thought, to change, to grow, to heal, or die, I guess. But God has nothing to do with sickness or death. Oh, God has taken him away. No, God never has taken away anyone. We program that. And what we do when we're sleeping in deep REM sleep, and this is, some people find this a little shocking, but you leave your body and you go into a higher dimension and you actually work with your higher self and your spirits and your guides and teachers and whatever you know. And you sit around and you talk with them and what's going on. But you don't remember that when you come back. You may have a vision of it, but that's the process. One of the example is when Emerson did the light bulb thing. Thoreau was talking with him, was a good friend of Waldo Emerson, not Waldo. No. Ralph, thank you, Ralph Emerson. And he said, oh, and also Henry Ford was there too. I said, how do you get these ideas? What is the thing with the light bulb thing? How do you know what to do? And Emerson said, I don't. I just, there's somewhere I go when I'm sleeping, and I remember it when I come back, and I'm shown that it can be done. They show me that a light bulb can be done, but they don't tell me everything. They said, pray on it, think about it, focus on it, and you'll get it. It'll make it easy for me. And then I try this, and I try this, and I try this. I think he tried 1,000 different things before he had a good light bulb. But he didn't claim that. He said, you know, it's not me. It's not me. And that's what we hear when we read the Bible. It is not us, but God within, the Spirit within, that does the work. And so when we open our minds up to a higher energy, when we open our minds up to healing thoughts, in this case, what we're talking about today, then our vibration shifts. And then when these healing thoughts come to us, they go with our changed belief system, a belief in health and wholeness. And that's where we need to go. And I love it when he says, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. And we've had stuff hanging all over the wall. Mom's got it too. And that's important. But like I said, it's repetition. It's repetition. It's repetition. That's why Unity does denials and affirmations. And denial would be like, not denying that there's sickness, but denying that that sickness has any power over us, unless we let it, unless we invite it, unless we ask for it. And we don't always ask it audibly.
Yes, see.
But we ask for it in the ways we act, in the way we think. We bring it upon us, like attracts like again. So I wanted to. This is a booklet which we've had around. It's written in 1935 by Emmett Fox. He's been a New Thought practitioner. He was with Unity and Centers for Spiritual Living, which used to be Science of Mind. Yes, thank you. And so we used to sell these, but we don't have a bookstore anymore. We got a loaning library. If you want to look through it, feel free. But this is you can get it on Amazon for $5 or something, and it's a 7-day mental diet. And when I read that, I got thinking, you know, I want to encourage people to read that book. And then I typed in there, and I got a short video, and I just would like to show that to you. It will encourage you again to change your thoughts, to change your life.
I like to give people a challenge. I'm curious, I want everyone listening for the next 7 days to try something. And if you could give 1 to 3 different things that we could think differently or eliminate when a thought comes to us or we react in a certain way. If there's something you think that if we eliminated 1, 2, or 3 things, and we did this every day for 7 days, we would start to see incredible feelings differently. We'd feel healthier, more lively, more loved. What would be those few things?
Okay, well, most people, number one, they get up in the morning and they check their cell phone, they check their text, their WhatsApp, their Facebook, they post something on Facebook, they drive to work the same way, do the same thing. So they're in a program. They've actually lost their free will to the program.
Wow.
So if you start your day, and you start your day with this simple question, what is the greatest ideal of myself that I can be today? You ask yourself that question. Now listen, your body's going to go like, well, we got to get a cup of coffee, and you got to, I'm tired yet, and you got to go, body, you're not the mind, I'm the mind right now. You're going to sit here, I'm going to feed you, you're going to get your coffee, you're going to do all those things, but right now, this is my time. You're going to obey me, right? So now, the body's no longer the mind, you're the mind. And so when it wants to get up and you become aware of it, and return back to the present moment, every time you do, that's a victory. Wow. And you're changing some aspect of yourself. So then, ask yourself, I do this all the time, write down 4 thoughts that you're going to stay conscious of the whole day. I can't, it's too hard. You'd be surprised the moment you become conscious of what those thoughts are, how unconscious you've been to them all day, for weeks on end. Write down what you speak, how you speak, 4 things you want to change, how you act. How do you act? You complain, you blame, you make excuses, you feel sorry for yourself. That's a victim consciousness. What emotions do you live by? Is it possible that you're so used to living by guilt you don't even know it's guilt, it just feels like you? Do you allow your energy to drop? Become conscious of those states of mind and body and review them and say, this is the old self. Then say, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? And start firing and wiring and start feeling it. What behaviors will I demonstrate today? What choices will I make? One day, one lifetime. And just like you did, rehearse them. Rehearse the whole entire thing. Begin to install the neurological hardware in your brain. And if you keep installing it, the hardware is going to become a software program, and you're going to start thinking and acting that way. And then here's the tough part. Can you teach your body emotionally what your future is going to feel like before it's made manifest? And don't get up until you feel that way. Now, practice that for a few days, and then see if you can stay in that state, and watch all of a sudden all those weird doors start opening for you. Synchronicities, whatever they are. Number 2, take up time at the end of your day. The end of your day, before you lay down, and give thanks for your life. And feel gratitude. And really teach your body what it feels like. The emotional signature of gratitude. And gratitude means you're getting something. If I give you something that's of value, you would say thank you because you would feel it, right? So when you're receiving, you're giving thanks. So gratitude is the ultimate state of receiving. So then people only accept, believe, and surrender to the thoughts equal to their emotional state. So if you're in a state of gratitude, every thought's going to make it right down into your body. If you're saying, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, and your body's programmed in negativity, it's saying, no, you're not, no, you're not, no, you're not, thought's going to stop right here. So as you elevate your state, there are about 1,200 different chemical reactions that go on in the body to begin to restore and repair the body in a state of gratitude. And so we've done research to prove that. 10 minutes, and just feel it with all of your heart. That's it. Wow. Third thing, and very important, take time, whenever it is, sit down, close your eyes, and begin to just open your awareness to the space around you and just sense it and pay attention to it and become more aware of it. The act of opening your awareness begins to reduce the stress hormones and creates more coherent brainwave states. I'm doing it right now. And it's just a practice. Yeah. It's just a practice. And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Very helpful stuff.
What was the name of that gentleman that was talking?
Joe Dispenza. We went to a live show of him up in Las Vegas at the Unity Church up there. He's incredible. It was a several-hour workshop, and we got a lot of value out of out of that. So it's about taking charge of our life. It's about standing at the door of our consciousness, and when we think of a negative thought, I used to say, cancel, cancel, cancel. No. Nate had a good idea. He said, when you have a negative thought, substitute. Have planned in your mind something that you say that's positive. And so if you're feeling like you're going to die of a cold or COVID or whatever, have you say, I don't believe in that anymore. I am whole. I am healthful. I'm free from sickness. I'm free from what? And get into the denials and affirmations. Now, we get accused sometimes of not believing in sickness or whatever have you. Of course we know that's a reality in the third dimensional world, but we're not victims for it. If we feel like a victim, then we're going to experience that. I remember Dr. Shealy, this was years and years ago, was talking about, when he was a scientist, whatever, and he was working in his lab, and he had one of those microscopes that you can look at it this side, and someone else is facing you, and you're both looking at the same slide at the same time. And he did an experience. And he got that from believing that our thoughts actually affect our cells in our body. And he had little, what's the little tiny thing, protozoa? I guess that's what it is. And they had him on the slide, and he set it up that the guy was next to him, the other scientist across from him, and the protozoa would be there just mingling around on the slide. And then he would think, Dr. Shealy would think negative thoughts, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. And they would literally move to the other side. And they would go from love to hate, and they would get these protozoa, drive them crazy, little protozoa. And so the thoughts just actually affected those. And what he's saying, he says, your thoughts affect every cell in your body. Every cell in your body is affected by your thoughts, and especially thoughts that you feel strongly about with high emotion. And so you can kill your own cells. And so what he had them doing, remember the Pac-Man, when Pac-Man first came out? I used to think that was marvelous. I even used to think Bong was, wow, look at Bong, look what that computer can do, and now it's like 100 in the world. But he had the Pac-Man, he had people who had cancer, terminal cancer, in his center, his hospital there, and he had them thinking about the little thing goes around, the devil-looking thing that goes around. That was the cancer, and he had the Pac-Man believing they were his white blood cells, and he said, just see your white blood cells going up. Here's the cancer, and going and eating that cancer and disposing of it. He had people like terminal cancer with a couple of months to live that absolutely went into total recession. Because of that, they healed because of their thoughts. And so that's what it's about. It's about we're powerful spiritual beings, and we have to come to the belief in that. Pray about it. Jesus said pray, and when you pray believing that what you want is already yours. So when we pray, again, the old thing, we don't see if someone has a broken leg and says, pray for me. We don't focus on the broken leg. That's there. We focus on the image of that person healed and dancing and going around and saying, wow, I feel it. That's when we pray. And we don't pray like we're begging God, because God doesn't need to be begged. Your higher self is there for you all the time. But you have to accept it. And so instead of saying, oh dear God, help me, and say, I take charge of my life right now. I call forth my higher self to heal this, to change the vibration of this from an unhealthy to a healthy one. I am healthy, I am whole. That's how we pray. Claim it. We're powerful beings, but we have to act like it. We don't believe it because of all the conditions that have been with our minds from early on when we were programmed to, money doesn't grow on trees. Who do you think you are? Is something wrong with you? All those things were my parents. Bless their hearts. A long time ago, I used to feel angry at them, and I thought, no, that's the product of their upbringing too. So I have learned to totally forgive, because everybody's in some way doing the very best they can with what they have and the consciousness that they have. And so we're all able to change our consciousness, shift our belief system, bring in new belief systems. And again, it's by repetition, by prayers and affirmations and denials and all those things there. So anyway, I hope you take some of this home with you and spread it around. Talk to your people in your own life about it. And when they look at you like you're crazy, just be okay with that. That's where they are. So I'll leave you with that.